If you've ever carried your kid the last mile back to the car, you know the feeling. Your family's done, the hike's ruined, and you're wondering if this is even worth it. But after hiking 10-mile days in Glacier with our family of 5, we learned that it's not about being in better shape, it's about hiking smarter. Journey with us as we break down 10 tips to hike all day, with family or without. Let's get started. The first question most families ask is, why does our family feel completely gassed after only 15 minutes of uphill climbing? The problem usually stems from a power-up mentality. Most parents try to maintain their flat ground pace when the trail starts tilting up, and the kids try to keep up. That's like trying to drive a truck up a steep grade in 5th gear. When you force your body to work at 100% effort, you cross your anaerobic threshold. Once that happens, your body starts producing lactic acid faster than it can clear it. And that heavy leg feeling hits, your heart rate skyrockets, and your kids are in mutiny mode. To fix this, you have to consciously shift gears the moment the incline starts, and I mean the whole family. Think of your family as a freight train, slow, steady, and rhythmic. You want to find a sustainable cadence where your breathing stays deep and controlled. Here's the test. If you can't speak a full sentence to your kid without gasping, you're moving too fast. And if your kid can't talk back, way too fast. Consistency beats speed every single time on a family hike. That's just one, but continue watching because if you miss just one of these tips coming up, you could end up abandoning a hike like we did on Petrified Forest Trail at Theodore Roosevelt National Park. We'll discuss aching knees later, but maybe your family fatigue is all in your head. So we should ask, how much of hiking stamina with kids is just a mental game? A significant portion of exhaustion is actually a quit signal from your brain, and it hits kids even harder. Your brain is wired to protect you from overexertion, so it will tell you you're tired long before your muscles actually give out. Kids get this signal louder and faster than adults do. To overcome it, use the 10-minute rule. When your kids say, "I can't go any further," tell them and yourself you'll just go 10 more minutes. But those 10 minutes need to be at a comfortable pace, one foot in front of the other. Tell your family you're enjoying the hike and take in the landscape, like here on the Highline Trail. Usually within that time, everyone's heart rate stabilizes or that last snack kicks in and the urge to quit passes. It's also helpful to break the trail into smaller bites for the kids. Don't talk about the 10 miles ahead. Just think about reaching that next switchback, that specific grove of trees, or if you're using an app, the next half mile, and use little rewards along the way like we do with gummy worms. Small wins keep the dopamine flowing for you and your kids, and that fights off mental fatigue for the whole family. Later we'll discuss gear, but did you know when your family eats matters? Our family usually waits until we're hungry to stop for lunch, but the kids still hit a wall for no reason. Why? If you wait until anyone in your family feels hungry, their energy reserves are already dangerously low. This is known as bonking. I'm sure you've heard of it. And kids bonk faster and harder than adults because they have smaller glycogen stores. It happens when blood glucose levels drop. Your brain and muscles require a steady stream of fuel to function, but your body can only process a limited amount of calories per hour while you're active. Instead of one large lunch that leaves everyone feeling heavy and sluggish, eat throughout the hike. When your family hits a mental achievement like we discussed above, instead of gummy worms every time, reward with a small snack of 100 to 150 calories. When you plan your family hike, think ahead to pack an appropriate amount of food for each milestone per kid, because they burn through snacks faster than you'd expect. Focus on complex carbohydrates and simple sugars that provide immediate and sustained energy. Protein bars or trail mix work great. Keeping your family fuel levels steady prevents the spikes and crashes that lead to that mid-afternoon meltdown. Did you know how you descend can improve your family's stamina? We'll discuss breathing coming up. But what if my lungs feel fine, but my knees are killing me on the descents? What am I doing wrong, and how do I protect my family's knees? Downhill hiking is actually more taxing on the joints than the uphill climb. And for parents, it's worse because you're absorbing impact for 2 when you're holding a kid's hand or stabilizing them. Your body has to absorb 3 to 4 times your weight in impact force with every step. The biggest mistake families make is locking their knees to slow themselves down as they descend, or letting kids run ahead and jam their joints. This sends the impact force directly into cartilage and ligaments. To save your family's knees, you need to maintain flexed knees, a constant slight bend that allows your muscles to act as shock absorbers. Teach your kids soft knees like a gorilla walk. They'll think it's fun and their joints will thank you. Additionally, you should shorten your stride and use trekking poles as external limbs to offload about 15 to 20% of the weight from your lower body to your arms. Small, shorter strides are much safer and more efficient for the whole family than large, jarring drops. But my son had knee problems on any hike for a simpler reason. We discovered his arches were not supported right. While hiking Little Wild Horse Slot Canyon and Goblin Valley State Park, he forgot his arch support, so he rolled up dollar bills, put them in his shoe, and the pain disappeared. Dads have got to get creative. We're almost halfway through, but are you liking this walk and talk format and my improvised arch support? We share all our hikes of the national parks in this way to give you the most information possible. Subscribe today so the next time you search a park we've been to, our videos show up at the top of your search results. Okay, back to the list with our next question. Can my family's gear actually be the reason we're getting tired so quickly? Your gear is your family's life support system, but if it's poorly fitted, especially on your kids, it becomes a literal drag. The most common issue is a pack that isn't pulling the center of gravity toward your back. If your kid's pack sags away from them, their core and lower back have to work overtime just to stay upright. For adults, you should ensure your load lifter straps are at a 45-degree angle or pull the weight off your shoulders and onto your hips. Even lighter day packs should be fitted well, but here's the number most families miss. 1 pound on your feet is the energy equivalent of 5 pounds on your back. If your kid is wearing heavy, overbuilt boots for a well-maintained trail, they're wasting massive amounts of energy. Switching them to a lighter, more technical boot or trail runner can significantly increase your family's daily range. To learn more about the gear we use day hiking the national parks, check out the video description while you watch the rest of this video. Is there a specific way our families should be breathing on steep sections to stay energized? Most families use shallow chest breathing, and kids are the worst offenders because they're excited and rushing. That doesn't fully clear carbon dioxide from the lungs. At higher elevations like up near Grinnell Glacier and Glacier National Park, this makes everyone's heart work significantly harder. To combat this, elite mountaineers use pressure breathing. You take a deep breath into your belly and then exhale forcefully through pursed lips, like blowing out a candle. This creates back pressure in your lungs, which helps force more oxygen into your bloodstream. Teach your kids to pretend they're blowing out birthday candles on a steep climb. It gives them a mental game and a breathing technique. It sounds a bit strange at first, but it can lower your heart rate almost instantly and prevent that lighthearted feeling that often accompanies steep, high-altitude family climbs. We've discussed food and gear, but this next question completes the three-legged supply stool for families and is critical. Our family drinks plenty of water, but we still feel sluggish and get cramps. What's missing? Hydration is about more than just water, especially for kids. It's about electrolytes. When your family sweats on the trail, you aren't just losing fluid. You're losing salts like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Kids lose these faster relative to their body size. If your family drinks massive amounts of plain water, you can actually dilute your blood salt levels, which leads to a condition called hyponatremia. This causes brain fog, muscle weakness, and fatigue. And parents, it can make your kids genuinely confused and cranky on the trail, which you might mistake for a bad attitude instead of a medical need. To maintain your family's stamina, you need to replace those minerals. Use electrolyte powders or tablets in at least one of your water bottles. This keeps your family's electrical system firing correctly and ensures that the water you're all drinking is actually being absorbed by your cells rather than just passing through you. We've got 3 more to go, but every good hiking video needs a dad joke. When my family's really tired on the trail, I tell them I really love hiking uphill. It's just so uplifting. Okay, back to the list. And I've heard about the porter step or the rest step. How does that actually save a family's energy? This is one of the most powerful tools in a seasoned hiker's arsenal, and it's a game changer for families. Most people hike with constant tension in their legs, meaning their muscles are engaged through the entire stride. Over thousands of steps, that tension drains your battery. The rest step used by mountain porters carrying massive loads in Nepal introduces a micro rest into every single step. As you step forward on an incline, you strengthen your back leg and lock the knee for a fraction of a second. This tiny pause transfers the weight of your body and your pack onto your skeletal structure, the bone, rather than keeping the load on your muscles. It gives your quadriceps a split second to recover. Now here's why this matters for families. When you teach your kids the rest step, they can actually keep pace on uphills without burning out. By the end of a 10-mile family hike, those thousands of micro rests are the difference between your kids finishing strong and you carrying them the last mile or two. It takes a little practice, but try it with your family the next time you're climbing up a small hill. Have you hiked a 10-miler with your kids? Join the conversation and comment below with your biggest hiking story. I'm 7 inches taller than my wife and need to keep this next question in mind every time we hike as a family. Should our family change pace to keep up with each other or let everyone hike their own speed? Social pressure is a silent energy killer on the family trail, and kids feel it worse. Many hikers redline their heart rate trying to keep up with a faster spouse or older sibling, which leads to early burnout and someone crying on the side of the trail. The most efficient pace is your own natural groove. For a family, the best strategy is to put the slowest hiker in the lead. Yes, your youngest kid sets the pace. This allows everyone to maintain a consistent, sustainable pace without the constant micro sprinting that happens when people in the back try to catch up. If you find yourself constantly stopping and starting, your family's energy is bleeding out with every pause. Let the slowest lead, even let them dictate the conversation. Keep it steady and you'll be amazed how much farther your family goes. We'll discuss what to do after a hike next, but if you want the best deals on the hiking gear we recommend, national park news, and more, subscribe to our newsletter. You can find the sign-up link in the video description. What should our family do right after a long hike to be ready for tomorrow? This is the question most families skip, and it's the reason day 2 of a hiking vacation feels twice as hard as day 1. Active recovery is the key. When you finish a big hike, the temptation is to collapse at the campsite. But sitting still lets lactic acid pool in your muscles and your joints stiffen up. Instead, have your family do a gentle 10 to 15 minute walk, even just around the parking lot or down a flat trail. Then, within 30 minutes of finishing, everyone should eat a snack with a mix of carbs and protein. For kids, a chocolate milk or a peanut butter cracker works great. Also, have everyone elevate their legs for 10 to 20 minutes against a tree, on the RV bumper, whatever works. This helps drain the fluid that accumulates in your lower legs during a long hike. Do this with your family after every big day on the trail, and you'll notice a huge difference in day 2 energy. To learn more about hiking with your family, watch this video next.